Hello, everyone. I hope you're doing well out there. Welcome back to Finding My Way. Sophia here, and I'm so glad that you're tuning in again. If you listened to my last episode, you know I talked about trusting in God's plan instead of trying to lead my own life according to the world's expectations. And let me tell you, realizing that truth and actually living it are two completely different things. Because what happens when you do let go, what happens after you release control and step into the unknown, if I'm being honest, that part terrified me. For the longest time, I built my life around what I thought I was supposed to be. I wrapped my identity in my career, in my accomplishments, in the expectations I thought that I had to meet. And when those things didn't go according to plan, when I was job searching, getting rejection after rejection, feeling like I was stuck, I felt completely lost. I knew I had hit rock bottom when I was no longer just frustrated. I was broken. The moment I realized that, it was after yet another rejection email. At this point, I had lost count of how many companies had either ignored me or told me, we decided to move forward with another candidate. And every single time, it chipped away at me. I remember sitting there looking at my inbox and just breaking down. I fell to the ground and cried out to God, why? Why is no company choosing me? What am I doing wrong? The worst part about it wasn't just the rejection, it was the fear. Fear that I wasn't good enough. Fear that I was running out of time. Fear that my savings were drying up. And soon, I was going to have to ask for financial help. And that, to me, felt like failure. It felt like weakness, like I couldn't fend for myself. And if you've ever been in that place, you know how heavy that feeling truly is. But looking back, I'm glad that I went through it, because that season humbled me in ways that I never expected. I had to let go of the idea that my worth was tied to what I did for a living. For so long, I clung to my labels like engineer, designer, analyst. Those titles made me feel valuable. They made me feel like I mattered. But when those titles were stripped away, when I didn't have a job to attach my identity to, that's when I had to face the truth. The only title that truly matters is being God's daughter. And don't get me wrong, career titles are important. They help shape the work that we do. But they should never define who we are. The problem was, I had placed so much pressure on myself to reach those worldly milestones. You know the ones. Have a high-paying job by a certain age. Be married by now. Own my own home. Have everything figured out. And when those things didn't happen on my timeline, well, I felt like a failure. But the thing is, God never put those expectations on me. I did. Society did. My own insecurities did. God was never asking me to check off a list of worldly accomplishments. He was simply asking me to trust Him, to let Him lead me. But I wasn't willing to do that. I thought that I had everything figured out. And that was exactly the problem. At first, those expectations fueled me. They made me work harder. They made me push through sleepless nights, stress-filled days, and an endless cycle of doing instead of being. And honestly, that worked for a while, until it didn't. I knew things were getting bad when I was having those daily panic attacks at work. My body was telling me, enough. My spirit was crying out for rest. But instead of listening, I kept pushing. I kept telling myself, just work harder. Just figure it out. Just keep going. And that's when I had my aha moment, or what I like to call my come to Jesus moment. I realized I wasn't living. I was surviving. I was forcing myself to keep up with expectations that were never meant for me in the first place. And the worst part? I was so caught up in the chaos that I couldn't hear the Holy Spirit. I couldn't hear God trying to guide me. And that's when I had to make a choice. Do I want to keep spiraling? Or surrender it all to God? One of my biggest struggles during this season, feeling like my faith wasn't strong enough. I looked at my life and thought, of course I'm struggling. Look at how far I've drifted from God. I wasn't reading my Bible. I wasn't praying. I wasn't worshiping. I wasn't journaling. I was putting everything ahead of my relationship with God. And yet, I wondered why I felt so lost. When I finally broke down and came back to Him, I was embarrassed. I thought, God must be so disappointed in me. But you know what? He wasn't. God was sitting there shaking his head in frustration. He was waiting. He was ready, arms wide open. And He wasn't expecting me to have it all together. He just wanted me to take one step towards Him. So I finally did. At first, it was just listening to worship music again. Then I started reading a few Bible verses. Eventually, I started praying again. And I'll never forget the day I finally surrendered control. I prayed, Lord, place me in the role that you have for me. That was it. The most simple, vague, yet powerful prayer I think I've ever said. Because in that moment, I finally let go. I trusted. I finally gave God room to lead me. And let me tell you, that was the best decision I've ever made. So if you're in a season where you feel lost, where you feel like nothing is working out, where you feel like you've drifted too far from God, I just want you to know it's never too late to come back. God isn't disappointed in you. He isn't mad at you. He's waiting for you. And all He wants is for you to take one small step back to Him. So my challenge to you, are you willing to take that step? Maybe it's listening to a worship song. Maybe it's reading one Bible verse. Maybe it's saying a quick prayer. Even if you don't know what to say, just start. And trust that God will meet you exactly where you are. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Finding My Way. If this resonated with you, please don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next one. I'll see you next time. Bye.